Morning, Rabbi.
Good morning, good morning. Can you hear? Good morning, Rav David. Okay.
Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi.
Shalom Aleichem, Kevin.
How are you feeling, Rabbi?
Baruch Hashem, we're learning. That's it.
Baruch Hashem.
Learning the Yiddish word.
When the Mishnah says that the shiur cannot be moved directly, it shall.
Huh? Right, Samach.
Morning, good morning.
All right, let's go. Vamos. With the help of Hashem, we are learning Shabbos Daf Samach. We are in middle of the Machloikis of Reb Nechemia and the Rabbanon. Reb Nechemia holds regarding a ring that betabas halech achar choisma, the Braisa, which is an extension of the Mishnah in Kalim, that's speaking about Hilchas Tuma and Tara. As we explained, there's a rule that pshutei clay eights are not susceptible to becoming tamei, and that's not like the din of metal. A metal utensil, even if it's flatware, is susceptible to becoming tamei, even though a ring is circular, but there is no receptacle in it. A ring is considered a keli that's pshutei. So if you have a ring that's made out of one material and its signet is made out of another material, one metal and one wood, so that was the machlekes that we had, that Reb Nechemia says you follow the signet, and the whole ring is classified based on the material of the signet. The Chachamim says that hakoil hoilech acher hamaimid, and the maimid means the ring, because the signet is supported by the ring itself. And we made this link between Hilchas Tuma and the dinim that we have in our Mishnah regarding Hilchas Shabbos. And we're going to ultimately learn today that the criteria of how we classify an item regarding Tuma and Tada doesn't necessarily go on the same track for the criteria of how we prohibit rearing an item of Shabbos. One is not necessarily connected to the other, and that's going to close the sugya of a tabas with a signet. We're going to, God willing, start on Daf Samach, the new Mishnah. This Mishnah is speaking about items that a man may not go out with. Now let's make something very clear. When we began this Perek on Daf Nun Zayin, we spoke out the machlokes between the Rabbeinu Tam and the Bal Hamoed. Right, the Mishnah speaks about what women, but me'isha yoitza. So the Rabbeinu Tam holds that this whole chashash of whether a man is going to take off something to show it off to his friend, the Reshus Harabim, is not shaykh by a man. So holds the Rabbeinu Tam. The Bal Hamoed says no, that men can show off their jewelry just like women, It's more common by women, which is why the Mishnah speaks about Bameh Isha, but it's the same. But don't forget, that Machlekes Rishonim is whether there's an Isur Midrabanan for a man, if he goes out with a Tachshit, whether he's also going to take it off to show it off and he might carry it. But take a step back. A man, like a woman, we're not allowed to carry. So the question will always be, on a Doiraisa level, if a man is wearing something and it's not classified as a Tachshit, no one is debating that a man may not go out with that item, because if it's not a garment and it's not a Tachshit, then he's carrying. So we're going to have dinim regarding what men can go out with and not. That's already a Doiraisa question. And we'll speak more about this as we learn this daf. And basically, the entire rest of the daf is going to be speaking about something very limited. We're speaking about a certain type of sandal known as a sandal hamesumar. In English, it's called a hob-nailed sandal. It's a certain sandal that the sole is made out of wood. This is very rare today, if b'chlal we have this today. The upper part of the sandal is made out of leather. And there are nails that help connect the leather upper with the sole of wood. And here's the chachma, that the nails, bedafka, they protrude to the undersole, many nails. So really, when you're walking, you're barely putting the wood on the floor, you're walking on nails. Now, people had those sandals, perhaps this is not ornamental, this is for them to be able maybe to walk better, it should happen to the ground better. And there was either one incident, and there's the three-way debate exactly what happened, or there were three separate incidences that when many people were gathered together wearing such a shoe, such a sandal, because of its sharp underside, there was a terrible tragedy and many people got killed. The Chachamim went ahead and they made a takana that on Shabbos you may not wear such a sandal. So this really is a limited scenario and a tragic scenario, but it touches on a very broad concept. In other words, something happened, whether it happened once or three times, and the Chachamim reacted, but their reaction was to prohibit wearing such a sandal only in a similar case to where the story took place. The story took place on Shabbos. On Shabbos. Now, it could have happened on a Monday. People got gathered together and they were afraid and they began to, there was a panic and there was a rush and they ended up killing each other because of this very sharp underside. The Chachamim only made the takana that on Shabbos you may not wear the sandal. And b'chlal we're going to learn various opinions that whenever the Chachamim make a decree, they only apply it in similar cases, and that application is very narrow. So this sandal can be worn on a Sunday, can be worn on a Monday, and we're going to speak a lot about this type of sandal hamasumar. We're going to be speaking about that it's also only if you're wearing a real sandal hamasumar, if you are wearing a sandal that for ornamental reasons, it has some nails, even though those nails protrude to the undersole, but it's there for ornament. It's not there for the proper functional sandal hamasumar. You do not have such a takana. We're going to be learning a person who has a sandal whose the sole on one side was rubbed out. So for them to level out the sandal, they hack nails in, and the nails were only put in there so it should level out. That's also not the sandal hamasumar. It's only the sandal hamasumar that became asad and only on Shabbos. Okay, and a lot more, but let us start on Daf Samach. We left on Daf Samach Amud Aleph, the fourth line from the top of the Amud. In the beginning of the line, Rava Amar. So Nachum al-Chazering. In our Mishnah, we made an implication, we made an inference that the issue for a woman, midrabanan, is to go out with a tabas that has no signet. And on that, the Gemara correctly inferred that if a woman is wearing a ring with a signet, that's not shaykh to our Mishnah. That's much worse. That is already an Isur Doiraisa, because such a ring is not viewed as an ornament. It's a functional ring. There's a signet. And that we had a contradiction from a Braisa that's expanding a Mishnah in Kalim, and the Mishnah regarding Tumah and Tara is speaking about the Mishnah, the Braisa there begins about items that are considered the Tachshit, Tachshite Nashim Tachshit is shaykh to becoming Tameh, it's susceptible to becoming Tameh, and the Braisa there speaks both about a ring with a signet and without a signet, right? And in other words, a ring with a signet is called a Tachshit. But the Gemara answered, yeah, and a Chanami. There's a Machlokes Tanoim, and like we said, Harav Nechemya, Ha Chachamim. Rab Nechemia follows, says, Halech achar choisma. If halech achar choisma, that's going to be our Mishnah, my friends, correct? Because the choism renders the ring non-ornamental. It's not a tachshit. There's a choism. You follow the choism. Also, in Negea Tumah and Tara, we have the same concept that since in the case where the choism is made out of metal, then it's going to be susceptible to becoming tamei, because metal, I don't care that it doesn't have a receptacle. Shute klayates is not mekabel tuma. However, the chachamim that hold that halech, that hakoil loyal hachar maimed, you always follow the portion that provides support. The chachamim will be the shita of the brisa that will hold that no matter if the ring has a wooden or a metal signet, the vart is that it's considered a ring because you follow that which supports the signet. The support of the signet is the ring itself. A ring is a tachshit. So the Chachamim Taka will hold that any type of ring, even with a signet, is still called a tachshit of a woman, and therefore l'chora she will be allowed midai raisa to go out with it on Shabbos, not like our Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Rava says, hold on, when you look at the Braisa, really litzadadim ketani, which means that the Mishnah is really speaking about, the Braisa is speaking about two different cases, which is, yesh oleha choisam, that was the beginning, that was the contradiction. If you have a ring with a signet, then tachshit, the ish, then we will call it a ornament of a man. Interesting psychology for a man. When a man has a choisim, he's a chashuv person, he needs to have a sale. Yeah, it's functional, but a man considers this his ornament. It's a tachshit. A man might even wear such a ring if he never needs it. You know, these people that go around with a lot of keys, he has a seal, he has a signet. By a woman, only if eino le'ach choisam, then it's called a tachshit isha. And our Mishnah and Daf Nun Zayin is speaking about women's rings, and taka, it's consistent. Kula alma moedem, that by a woman, if there's a signet, it's not called a tachshit, and therefore it's going to be also midai raisa for Shabbos because she is carrying. That's the second way to reconcile. And the third answer, that Nachman Yitzchak Amar, Tuma, Shabbos, Karamis, you're asking a contradiction from Dinei Tuma on Dinei Shabbos. Like we mentioned in the intro, the criteria to define how do you define a certain ring, the way we look at it for Shabbos versus Tuma won't be the same. Tuma, when is something susceptible to becoming tummy? When it's a final product. Now we're going to use words from the Torah. The Gemara is quoting a pasuk that we have in Parshas Matos over there after we won the war against the Midianites, and none of us got killed. And we wanted to express gratitude, so we brought to Moshe and Aaron gifts, spoils of the war. We're speaking about golden utensils. There, the Torah uses the words klei maisa amarachmana. It has to do with, this is the word, a klei maisa, a fashioned vessel. Well, you know what? A ring is a fashioned vessel. If there's a signet to the ring, it's also a fashioned vessel. And it's a vessel that is functional. And a chanami, it's a functional ring. But it's midinik tumatara, it's all a ring, it's all a keli. However, the kli, and therefore the kliu. But Shabbos, what's the issue of Shabbos? Not whether it's a keli or not. The issue of Shabbos is, guys, there are many kelim. Take any keli. I cannot carry a cup outdoors. A cup is a keli? Yeah, so what? I cannot carry a keli hoitzah, it's transferring. What's the word? Is that if you're wearing a beged or if you're wearing a tachshit is not called a masoi. It's not a burden because it's a tachshit. So that's something else. The Shabbos mishum masoi amarachmana. You may not carry anything that's called a burden, and therefore ein aleh choisam. If there is no signet, then and only then can we classify this ring as a tachshit, and on a doiraisa level, therefore a woman can wear it. But yesh olav choisam, it's considered a masoi, but don't connect b'chlal Shabbos and Tuma. They don't follow on the same track. So b'chlal, there's no stira between the Mishnah and later the Braisa from Kalim and our Mishnah. All right, so now the Gemara is referring back again. All of this is the Mishnah Daf Nun Zayin, all about women tachshite women that midrabanan they may not go out with. And as we learned in Mishnah also, if there's a machat with a hole means a sewing needle, there's an eye in one end, that's already not a tachshit. So even if she sticks it into her garments like a pin, no, it's not a tachshit. So it's worse. It's not in the Mishnah because there she's chayiv chatas. If she has a machat that doesn't have this hole, there's no eye in the needle, that's already ornamental. And therefore, on a doiraisa level, she's allowed to wear it. That's the whole Mishnah, but not midrabanan. So the Gemara wants to know, Lamai Chazia, hold on. Okay, I get it. It's a ornament. For what? How is it ornamental? A pin, a needle? Yeah, so the Gemara says, yeah, Amar Rabbi Yosef, Hoil ve'isha, igeres basara. That women used to wear such needles in their garments, and they would have it with them. So if she wants to split her hair, splitting her hair means, you have hair growing out of your head, and you want the hair from the right side to go on the right side, the hair from the other side to go on the left side. You want to make a split on top. So they would use a needle to help the hair go from one side to the other. All right. I take that back. No. Isha oigeres basara means she collects her hair. I take that back. She collects her hair. That means, like Rashi says, reading inside Rashi, that she has braids and she has a hat over it. Now, what's going to happen if some of the loose hairs escape the braids and they're flying out again, and she doesn't want to have any of her hair exposed? Oigeres means she collects it. So she takes those hairs, she has like a pin in her hat, and she wraps them around this pin. I'm reading inside Rashi. And then she makes sure the pin is inserted in the underside of her hat in order for no one to see her hair. This is why she would wear it for. Abaya says, if that's the case, just like there's a law when it comes to tumantara, that a garter is a certain type of band that a woman is going to wear on the top of her stockings to make sure that her stockings don't fall down. And by the way, that article, the Dinei Tumavatara, is always called Tahira because of a rule. The rule is that any item that's only worn to help another item, has no chashivas on itself, is not considered a keli for Tuma and Tara. We just learned a couple of days ago that if you have a handle of a keli, and at the end of the handle there's a ring, remember that? The ring is there, so when you hang the pot up, you should hang it from the ring. That ring per se is never going to become tummy, because it's an accessory to a keli, it's not a keli itself. So the abidis, which is again this garter, it's only an accessory to her stocking, so it's always tahira. Now, may a woman walk out with such an accessory on Shabbos? Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Why? A woman, even if it's a fancy garter, she'll never take it off. Like we already explained yesterday, people never take off their garments outside, even to show it off. She'll take off the garter, her stockings will fall down. So here also, if this pin, which is taka used to gather and to hide loose hairs, that all of it should be under her hat, why even midrabanan may she not go out? She'll never take it out. She'll never take it out. She doesn't want her hair to become visible. Ella Tirgama Rav Ada from Narsha'a in front of Rabbi Yosef. It's not this pin that she uses for oigeres to wrap her hair around, but chilek is basa'ara b'Shabbos. There's a pin, and woman has it that if she has to part her hair, like we said before, she wants the hair from the right side of her head to go to the right, to the left. Sometimes she needs a keli, and that's something that she may take out when she's outside. And lamai chazia, hold on. Indeed, such a keli is not an ornament. If she's wearing a pin to help her split her hair, then how is it ornamental? It's only a burden. So Amarava, tas sholzav yeshla al roisha. Normally when you have a pin, right, there is the sharper side and then there is the head of the pin. The head of this pin was very wide and it was made out of gold. And B'chayil, during the week, she would use this pin with the sharp side to divide her hair. And by the way, the Gemara says B'chayil, as we also mentioned not that long ago, that brushing your hair on Shabbos with a hard brush is an Isur D'Oraisa. Here also, a woman using these hard accessories to help them organize the hair is an Isser Doiraisa, because for sure, Psikresha, she's going to be goizeh, she's going to pull out some of her hairs. But that same pin that during the week is used for a functional purpose, the head of this pin was wide and gilded or made out of gold, and she would always position it. She would even have it inserted in her hair. But the gilded, beautiful side would go down on her forehead. And this was used for a tachshit. Part of it was latachshit, which is why Doiraisa, she is allowed to wear it. But the Chachamim held that being that it's a beautiful golden pin, she might take it off to show it off to her friends and then carry it. Midrabanan, she may not go out with it. Okay.
Rabbi, how is something that's not visible considered a tachshit, like a viris, a garter?
Obviously, some of it was visible. Obviously, that's what the Gemara just said. So she would stick it into her hair, some in the middle, and it would go. She would have like a golden pin on her forehead. Okay, now we're going to
Rabbi. The pin was coming from the back, holding the hair up, and the pin goes.
And the pin must have been visible. Okay, weiter. Lo yetze ho'ish b'sandal hamasumah. Like we spoke out in the intro, there was a sandal. This is the sandal. The sole, the bottom is wood. The upper part is leather. There were nails that held the leather with the sole, but not like by us, the shoes, they're stitched together, but maybe the stitches are visible if you look at the undersole, but they don't protrude. You're walking on the sole. The sandal was made in a way that you walk on the nails. There were many nails. The sharp part of the nails went to the undersole and they protruded outwards. So says the Mishnah again, this is a takana midrabanan. This is not an issue of Hilchas Shabbos, that a man lo yetze ho'ish b'sandal hamesumah because of a story or stories that happened. Another din in the Mishnah, not sandal hamesumah, whether sandals, whether shoes, v'loi b'yachid. Rashi teaches v'loi b'yachid that a man is not allowed to walk out on Shabbos with only one shoe on or only one sandal on. You may not do that. When? Bisman she'ein beragli maka, if you don't have a wound on your foot. So let's go look inside in the Rashi, 5 lines under the Gemara, very importantly, and we're going to have to follow up with this, God willing, on next daf when the Gemara is going to take this part of the Mishnah part, right? Bisman she'ein beragli maka, 5 lines under the Gemara. So first, Rashi is going to bring 2 reasons why midrabanan may you not go out with only one shoe or with one sandal. And then we'll explain, or we'll just introduce the challenge in explaining the bisman she'ein beragli maka. Zot Rashi, b'shas Yerushalmi mefarish. The reason why you may not go out only with one sandal, deloi lech shedei, in order for an observer, if I look at you walking with only one shoe, what might I think? Where's your other shoe? Where's your other sandal? The stama, you're holding it. Maybe it broke. Maybe the sole fell off. Maybe untied, and you're carrying it. They'll be that under your garment you're hiding the other one. That's one reason why midrabanan you may not go out with only one shoe or sandal. Chshad. And the Lashon Aboisai, Zok Rashi, that my Rebbe's told me, Dilma machaychi alei. An observer is going to see you walking with one shoe. He's going to laugh at you. It's funny. And he's going to make you feel conscious and uncomfortable. And because of people laughing at you that you're going out with only one shoe or with one sandal, that's going to cause you to be Machal Shabbos. The Shalif, the Shakil, the Shalif lay, Umamtile biyadei, B'shichach HaShabbos. You'll forget Abyssal that at Shabbos. You're going to take off the other shoe and you're going to hide it. At least you'll be barefoot. So there's 2 reasons why midrabanan you can only go out with one shoe. And now miu invited Nashi bisman sheyesh beragli maka. But if you have on your foot, one foot, a wound, then you are allowed to do it. So Rashi already points out that in the Gemara on Daf Samach Aleph, there's going to be a baya, there's going to be an inquiry on which foot may you wear it, on the wounded foot or on the unwounded foot. And guys, when we're going to learn this baya in the Gemara, we're going to have to work it through both B'shas Yerushalmi. You have to no matter what the reason is, you have this baya, and also according to the Lashon Rabbeisai, as God willing will do when we're going to learn next daf. Okay, back inside the Mishnah. Next in the Mishnah is V'loi v'tfilin. You may not go out with tefillin. Now that's already going to open up the whole question whether tefillin may be worn on Shabbos, may it not be worn on Shabbos. Does the Mishnah have to follow only one of those opinions? Can it work with both of these opinions? We'll see that again when we get there. Next in the Mishnah, V'loi b'kameya b'zman she'enoi min hamumcha. We already touched upon this a few daf ago when it came to a kameya and an animal. A kameya is an amulet. There were two types of amulets. Either it was an amulet that on it you had psukim or certain shemois hakadoshim written, or there was an amulet, pasha, they put together certain herbs, and people wore these amulets as a necklace around their neck. A mumcha means expert. There's an expert amulet. Here also we'll have to unpackage it when we learn the Gemara. There is an expert writer of amulets, and then there's something else. There's an amulet that we know it is expert. It functions. How is something or someone established as an expert if it was effective 3 times or more? And again, we'll have to understand is the Mishnah is implying that if it's an expert amulet, again, either the writer is an expert or this amulet already healed 3 people. We're gonna have to break this all down. Then it may be worn. When may it not be worn? Only if it's a kameya, when it's not an expert kameya. And or, we'll see that in the Gemara, not written by an expert. Because if it's a mumchadik kameya, then it's like my clothing. I can wear clothing, it's not called a burden, but the moment it's not proven to be functional, then we consider this kameya a carry, a burden, and it's also to go out with it. All right, next, but again, our Mishnah, like the Mishnah Daf Nun Zayin, all of these isurim is only midrabanan, which is why if you violated any of these, then you're not chayiv chatas, but you violated this midrabanan. The next is v'loi b'shiriyon. Shirim is a coat of mail. V'loi b'kasta, a helmet of metal. V'loi b'magofayim, shin guards. In other words, these are articles that are worn by soldiers to have their bodies basically covered with iron or with metals. This also may not be worn outdoors b'reshus harabim on a man b'Shabbos, and on all of the cases in the Mishnah, v'im yotza, but if a person did go out wearing the above, einoi chayiv chatas, because our Mishnah is only speaking about yisurim midrabanan. All of the above, midin Torah, is not considered a masoi. It's either a garment or it's considered an ornament. And as we spoke out, l'kula alma, a man midoiraisa can wear an ornament. Only question again we had in the beginning of Daf Nun Zayin, Machlekes Rishonim, is whether the Chazal's takana against ornaments went on men or not. But avad, if there's a tachshit, then midoiraisa, it's not called carrying. And basically from now until the end of the daf, almost until the end of the daf, we're going to be learning about this sandal hamasumar. Okay. So, reflecting about a sandal hamasumar my tama. Why is it that the Chachamim says you may not wear it? At the end of the day, it was a garment. It's a beged. It's your pair of shoes. A garment is not considered a burden. We walk out. All of us walk out. Midaraisa, midarabanan. It's okay to go with garments out with the shus harabim. So what? That this is a special type of sandal that has under its sole, protruding to the bottom, many nails. Who cares? So Amar Shmuel. Now, just an introduction. There are 2 ways of learning the Gemara. The Gemara is going to give us 3 events. The big question is it a machlokes? What happened? Only one event happened. The question is, what happened? So there's 3 versions of the same event. The Sfas Emes finds it very difficult, even though it's not the only time, to say that because of a one-time event, the Chazal made a takana that forever you can't wear such shoes on Shabbos. So he learns pshat in this Gemara that there were 3 events that were similar. After 3 times, punt on Shabbos, because of many people that were gathered together, that panicked, when they began to run towards the exit. They trampled on each other, Rahman al-Islan, and they killed each other. Happened 3 times. So Chazal said that you can't wear this on Shabbos. What happens? Let's begin. Omar Shmuel. Shilfei Gezerah Hoyu. Shilfei means fugitives. Fugitives of a decree. Many are of the opinion that really it's said in the Gemara Shilfei Hashmad. But because of the censor, in other words, there was a time that there was religious persecution. Normally this happened under the Romans, even though this could have happened prior. We had the issues with the Greeks. We always had issues with those who were forcing us, to, God forbid, to let go of Yiddishkeit. And we practiced Yiddishkeit, and there were many times that we needed to be in hiding. So whether it was a gzeira or whether it was a gzeiras against Shabbos, that's called gzeiras hashmad. So shilfei hagzeira hoyu. And so they were fugitives. And they were hiding in a cave. And they knew that if whoever the enemies were, if we would be discovered, we would be killed. It was a very serious moment. So we said amongst each other, everyone is allowed to enter the cave because we trusted each other that if you're going to be going from the city to this cave, you'll be looking behind your back and to the side of your back. And if someone will be following you, you'll notice it. So you can see whether you're being watched or not when you are out there. So they were not that hesitant to allow more people to join them. But they had a very strong rule. But no one is allowed to leave. No one is allowed to leave because when you left the cave to the outside, there was no way while you are in the cave for you to know what's going on outside. So there's a big chance that when you walk outside, someone is going to notice you. And even if it's an innocent bystander, so mamish, so they were stuck in there for a long time. No one left. What happened? So this sandal hamasuber, like many other sandals in the times of Chazal, you were able to put your foot in from both directions. In other words, the leather top was opened both for the front and from the back. It was not mamish symmetrical. It's not that you can wear it in either direction. The imprint that it made on the ground, from the imprint, you know where the heel is, you know where the toes are. There is a head and a tail of the sandal, but you are able to put it in turned around 180 degrees. And something happened to us. So some chacham put on these sandals the opposite. Guys, if you remember in B'chaydes Daf Chesamad Beis, Rabbi Shua Bar Chananya with the Savi da Atuna. So one of the ways he found their hiding place and he got in there, if you remember, was also with such a chacham there. He did it on purpose that he put these sandals on the opposite direction. So if you look at footprints, you think that the footprints are coming and going in the opposite of what really happened because they were flipped around. And this was an accident. So what happened? So Kisfurim, so they thought that Echad Mehem Yatza, it looked like someone walked out, really someone walked in, someone with sandals in the opposite direction, but they thought someone walked out. And therefore they were afraid that if someone walked out, even that our enemies discovered where we are. And they became paranoid, they were filled with a paranoia, with a fear. And they said, now they're going to come and they're going to attack us, they're going to kill us. So everyone in the cave, and there were probably many people, they panicked to get out. And we can all imagine if there's a panic on many people to get out of a place, there's a little exit, that can be very dangerous. It can be dangerous without a sandal hamasumar. People can fall down, they'll be trampled upon. Here, Rahman al-Islam, many people fell down, and whoever was trampled upon, because of the protrusion of the nails under the sandal, they were terribly wounded and they got killed. During that time, during the whole decree of Shema, many Yidden were killed because we got Yiddishkeit. In this one incident, many Yidden got killed, many more Yidden got killed. So that was either one version of the event or one of the three events. Rabbi Eloi ben Elazar Omer, that they were sitting, same story, the fugitives were sitting in a cave. Yeah. However, it's not that the sandal was turned around and they thought someone who really came in, they thought wrongfully, erroneously that he left, but the shamu koil ma'al gaba hama'ara. They heard sounds of people walking on top of the cave. And they thought, oy gewalt, we're coming, we're getting caught. And here again, because of the panic, and and a third, again, either a third event or a third version of the same event. Rami, Bar Yecheskel Amar, the Beis HaKnesses, they were sitting in a shul, and Veshamu Koil Ma'achoyde Beis HaKnesses, and again, Kisfurim Hoyu Shaboim Aleim Oivim, so, Dachaku Zebozeh, Vahorgu Zebozeh, Yoisim Mashahorgu Mem Oivim, and what happened? So, Ba'ois Sham, Omru, Chazal, the sages of the time said, that Al Yetzei Odom Besandal Hamashumer on Shabbos. On Shabbos, and we're going to look, we learned this in Chagiga, we're going to review this on Daf Samach Hamad Beis. This is not the only time that we find that because of a one-time event or because of a very limited event, even if it happened 3 times, Chazal made a takana. But the emes is, as we know, that all of the takanas Chazal, a lot more of the reasons that they revealed were their reasons, which is our approach is that once they made the takana, even if it appears to us that their reason is not shaykh now, we're still bound by it. But here, on the other hand, they made their takana only on the sandal hamasumar, and only on Shabbos. But the Gemara says, why didn't they do it on the weekdays? It is a dangerous sandal if you're stepping on top of someone else. So that's the rule. Maisa ki hava b'Shabbos hava. And when the Chachamim make a prohibition, they only make a prohibition on or in circumstances similar, right? Similar to the cause, similar to to the instance or to the instances. Okay, so now that you are limiting it to Shabbos, so now the Gemara has an opposite question. That the Yom Tov listed it, so why did they listed it? Why did they also prohibit it on Yom Tov? If it happened on Shabbos, it should only be usher on Shabbos. And we know that it's also usher on Yom Tov. How do we know that this Isur Medrabanan also goes and we're not allowed to wear the sandal hamasumah on Yom Tov? Alama Tnan, it's a Mishnah Masechtas Beya, or Masechtas Beisa, turning to the Samach Hamad Beis. Let's learn with the parentheses that Mishalchin Kalim B'Yontif, B'Chlau, we're allowed to carry Hoitzah and Yontif. But it's all connected because we can carry Oichel Nefesh. But there has to be some Tzoydech Yontif. So whether I'm allowed to send you a gift, a present on Yontif, it has to be a gift that may be used, that could be used on Yontif. For me to go and do Hoitzah on Yontif, sending you a gift, an item that you cannot use on Yontif, I'm not allowed to do that. So says the Mishnah that Mishalchin Kalim B'Yontif, a person is allowed to send, Kalim here refers to garments, whether they're sewn, so they're wearable, so they're functional, and even if they're not properly sewn, but it's just material, in Yiddish shmatis, in a good way, because there's also a function to it, right? A person can cover themselves with unsewn garments. A person who doesn't want to sit on something hard can fold up these materials and sit on it. There is some purpose for Yom Tov, which is why you are allowed to send it. However, after the parentheses, Abel, loy sandal hamasumar, you may not send this hobnailed sandal, as we are learning, because you're not allowed to use it. Or any shoe that's not sewn, because no one uses unsewn shoes for anything. They sew it and then they use it as shoes. Now, what do we see from over here? That a sandal, hamasumar, may not be used on Yom Tov, because if you could wear it on Yom Tov, then I would be allowed to send it to you as a gift. But the question is, we didn't make the takana on the weekday, so why did we make the takana on Yom Tov? So answers the Gemara, we'll skip now this parentheses, answers the Gemara, B'Shabbos, my Tama, why did they make the Isur on Shabbos? So now the Gemara is expounding a little bit more. It's not stam because the stories happen on Shabbos. Because Shabbos is a day that people gather more than in the weekday. We're speaking about Fruma Yidden. When do we gather? We gather to learn Torah or to daven. That's the big gatherings, nothing else. Weekday, everyone works. Now, of course, certain businesses demand for people to gather together, but you can't compare, right, your business office, unless you're a billionaire, then a shul. In a shul, you have hundreds or thousands of people. That the Ike Kinufia, there's gatherings. In other words, that if, God forbid, there'll be a panic, the real danger is when there's a big gathering. If there's not such a big gathering, it's not such a danger. If there's 10 people in the room, they'll all exit normally. If you have 100 people in the room, then you get into trouble. But Yom Tov Nami, Yom Tov Yidden gather mamish like Shabbos. Oh, so now you see it's nishtama, it happened on Shabbos. There's more time to everything. But Yom Tov Nami Ike Kenufya. The Gemara accepts this answer, but now we have a new question. And therefore, people gather just as much as Shabbos and Yom Tov on a Tana Sibur. So Litzar, they should have added another day in which we may not wear Midrabanan, the sandal Hamasumah, which should be on a Tana Sibur. Answers the Gemara, no. We gathered on a day that there is an Isur Malachim. Not that the gathering is us. Nothing more beautiful than Yidden gathering together to daven and to learn. It's on a day that there was an Isur Malacha that caused the gathering. But on a Taina Sibur, it's a gathering on a day that you may work. The Heterohu, L'chora, I'm giving L'chora. days that people can work, there's going to be less people in shul. People have to go to work. In other words, I think it's also connected to, even though Tainus Sibur, many people go to shul, more people will be on shul on Shabbos and Yom Tov because they have nothing else to do, but not a lot of work. Okay, so that's the Gemara's answer. In other words, we are limiting this Isur D'Rabbanan, and now the Gemara says that there are opinions that hold that rabbinic decrees that are because of a story that happened can only be applied to mamish a similar case. It's a very narrow application. And here we're still being moida that it's also including Yontif. And the Gemara points out that even according to Va'afilu l'Rab Chanina ben Akiva, or we have in the Maseidas Hashas from the Ksav Yoshan, l'Rab Chananya ben Akiva, the Omar that he says, and he was speaking about another Isur because of a story. Mechatos, right? When you have the paraduma and you burnt it, and now you have the ashes on it, and now you have this special mayim that is used to bring purification on people that want to become pure from tumas meis. So there is a takana midrabanan that you may not transport mechatos in a boat over waters. And Rabbi Chananya ben Akiva, Rabbi Chanina ben Akiva limits that takana. He said, hold on, this takana is the rabbanan that you may not transport it over waters in a boat. It's only if taka you're going over the Yarden, and not over any other water in the world. You could transport it on a boat. And even in the Yarden, if you have an area where there's a bridge over the Yarden, not a problem. Only in a boat. Why? Because this maisa we have in Chagiga, that they were transporting mechatos on a boat, on a little boat over the Jordan River, and then they discovered that there was a kezayis min hameis, right, that was lodged in the flooring of the boat. And therefore, everything in the boat became tamei. And they were matama de mechatos. So they said, you know what? You can't transport it over the Jordan in a boat. And here also, Rabbi Hanania says that if Chachamim made a takana because one time some mishap happened, you can only apply that takana to mamish the similar case. He says, okay, you can't transport it only over the Yarden, only on a boat. So Hanami the Gemara, and here we're saying that the takana went also on Yontif. But Hanami Yarden, the Hitaka was able to say only on the Jordan. The Jordan River doesn't look like other rivers. No river looks alike. Rashi says it doesn't have. There's a width, there's a depth, there's something unique about the Jordan as other rivers. Even according to Chanina, Rab Chananya ben Akiva, mamish ki hadadininu, and as the Mishnah says, the Tanan ein bein Yom Tov l'Shabbos elo oichel nefesh bilvad. Okay. Now we're explaining why Yom Tov and Shabbos are the same. And if they wouldn't be the same, then there would be no takana. Similarly, forget about the day of the week. The takana was only on a bona fide, on a pure sandal hamasumah. But if you have a sandal that also has nails protruding under the sole, but it was only put there for ornamental reasons, or for other reasons, like we spoke about in the intro, you want to just level out your shoe, then already it won't be included in the takana. However, we need to make sure that an observer will know that it's only there for linoi, for beautiful, for it's an ornament.
Rabbi, maybe a woman's high heels would be like that. It's ornamental, and they all wear it.
Do they? I don't know what the shoe you're referring to, but does it have nails going under or to the sides? It's a big difference.
Well, a high heel has a spike at the end.
That's only one. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. I didn't have a high heel. No, it's not a problem. We'll see over here that you can have more, you can have 5, you can have 7, you can have 13. Because as long as it is clear that it's not, see, a high heel is not to help her walk better. It's done for other reasons. The sandal hamasumah, the way I understand is that if you're walking on a floor and you want to really grab into the floor, so you have nails.
So like cleats.
Huh?
They call it cleats.
Okay, Danny's saying cleats, but it has to be dangerous. It has to be sharp. Okay, let's go.
So not like soccer shoes.
It has to be mamish. We're going to see certain details that it's not the sandal hamasumah, it's already mutter. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. When is there an isur if the nails were put in there to strengthen the sandal, whether it is to connect better the upper level to the wooden sole, or lachazik might mean to be machazik, you're walking. It's done there for a functional reason. But if you put nails, even if they're protruding to the undersole, but it's there for ornamental reasons, it's nice, it's fashionable, then it's mutter, but we don't want the marasayim. So now that's the question. The kamal lanoi means how many nails do we accept you to go with? Because an observer will know it's only lanoi. It's not the sandal hamasumar. So here we have all these details. Rabbi Yechanan says 5 is the max. 5, obviously 5 for each sandal. Chamesh bazeh, chamesh bazeh. Rabbi Hananiah says, no, even more. Even by 7, the observer will know it's lanoi. It's not the real masumar. Sheva bazeh, sheva bazeh. 5 or 7. Let me explain to you where they are placed. The lanoi. Lididi, that I hold 5. Stein mikan v'stein mikan. Stama 1 was more towards the big toe. 1 was towards the heel. And ba'achas betarsi yosef. Tarsi yosef is then b'chlal by all of the sandals. We know this from the dinim of chalitza, is that they would tie shoelaces around their legs, and these shoelaces needed to be tied onto the sandal or to the shoe. So there was a nail, that's the tarsi yosef, on which they would tie their shoelaces around. So it would connect their legs to the whether this was on the shoe, whether this was on the heel. I'm sure that Rabbi Steinsaltz's Gemara might have pictures of this. But in that area, having another nail protruding to the undersole, it's also clear lanoi. All of this is when it's lanoi. So that's the 5. 1 and 1, right? 2. So 2 to the right, 2 to the left. No, you have 2 in the front by the big toe and by the pinky, mistama on the right side of the heel, the left side of the heel, and 1 tarsi yosef. And Rabbi Chanina, gimel mikan ve'gimel mikan va'achas betarsi yosef. Okay. Meisvei, the kasha will be on Rabbi Yechanan. It says in a braisa, sandal hanoite. Sandal hanoite is a yeshiva bachar shoe. In other words, you wore out the sole, and therefore the shoe, slanted. It's not, the bottom is not straight. You want to fix it. You're not going to take it to a shoemaker. Chaval azman. You'll put a nail in, and the nail will protrude to the undersole. The nail would compensate the vacuum space, so it will straighten it out. 1 nail was not enough, so you needed to put in many nails as a gimmick. So it's called sandal hanoite. And don't forget, everyone knew sandal hamasumer you may not wear. But this is not the mesumer. This is not lachazik. This is just to make sure it goes straight. It's similar to, it's lanoi and not lachazik. So it's allowed, but we don't want for you to give the appearance that it's a sandal hamasumer. So what do you do? So how many nails are you allowed to have? So oisoloi sheva, so says the Tanach Rab Nosson. Now that goes a lot with Rab Chanina, right? 7 and 7. Lanoi, noitem. Rebbe says even 13. So the Gemara says, Bishlem el Rab Chanina, at least he holds like Rab Nosson, 7. Maybe not like Rebbe. But Rabbi Yechanan only allows with 5. If it's more than 5, it's already as a marasayin. Well, he has to have a Tana to lean on. Come on. The Gemara says, I have another Tana. Who the Amar Kerebi Nehoiroi, the Tanya Rab Neroi Omer, Hey Mutter, Sheva Asur. Clear. It's 7, you can't do that. Says the Gemara, Amar Lei Eifa says Rashi, Shem Chacham, the name of Amar Amoira. He was the son of Rab Rechavi of Pumpadisa, and we have a quotation to Sanhedrin Yud Zayin Amud Beis. Sanhedrin Yud Zayin Amud Beis that's the Gemara that says whenever Chazal say the judges of Dayanid Pumpadisa, who it is, remember that was a whole sugya there. Anyways, Eifa tells Rabba Bar Chana. He's asking what's the halacha. Obviously, many people had these sandals, Lenoi, and they wanted to wear it on Shabbos. Atun, you, Talmidei Rabbi Yechanan, are mechuyev to follow Rabbi Yechanan. Only 5. And if you have a ornamental sandal that has nails protruding under the sole, more asr. However, us, that's what Eifa is saying. We are Talmidim of Rabbi. We're not Talmidim of Rabbi Yechanan, so we can follow the shita of Rabbi Chanina, which allows up to 7, including 7. Boy minei Rafuna from Ravashi. Again, this halacha lamaisa chamesh mahu. So Ravashi also held that Felice Zayin mutter. He didn't paskin like Rabbi Yechanan. Tesmai. What about 9? So he says even 8 is usher. In other words, Ravashi, like Rab Nosson, like Rab Chanina, the number is 7. A shoemaker once asked of Rav Ami, what happens if you have a bona fide sandal hamasumar, many nails protruding underneath, but it's no longer a sandal. It was made as a sandal. The difference between a sandal and a shoe here is that whether there is proper leather inside of it. The sandal hamasumar's top was leather, but the bottom was ashmat, it was wood. What happens if you put inside all leather? So your foot, even the bottom of your foot inside the sandal now is sitting in a leather bottom. Leather inside and as an insert. So what happens if, but it's an insert, not you insert and take out, but it was sewn in. Does it change it from a sandal to a shoe? Based on the premise that this gezerah has to be in the same circumstances, not only the day of the week, but the sandal. Is it a shoe or is it a sandal? It's mutter.
Rabbi.
One second. Rabbi Yochanan said it's mutter. However, Rav Ami, don't remember why. So Amar Ravashi, right? I know the reason. Or Amalei Ravashi, of course you should know the reason. It becomes a shoe. And now that it's a shoe, only the sandal goes to the Rabbanon. But the minol goes to the Rabbanon. Again, these rabbinic decrees are only applied to mamish similar cases. Now Rav Ami maybe didn't know either because he didn't know that you only apply to a similar case, or there's a question. When you look at this sandal, the chetzonius, it's a sandal. The pnimius, the insert is leather. Maybe that's the question. Do you go after the external? Do you go after the pnimius? Anyways, we paskin that it's taka, you go after the pnimius, and if the inside is like a shoe, it's classified as a shoe. Someone was asking something.
No, Rabbi, I was asking if these sandals had the spikes on the outside, even though it had the
Yeah. That was a whole word. It had the spikes underneath it, sure.
So it's fashioned like a regular shoe, but it has spikes, and that he's saying is okay.
Made as a sandal, and then someone made the insides more comfortable, so now it's like a shoe. The chetzonius is a sandal, the pnimius is a shoe. Okay. From Abba Bar Avino. So, kamin kalabus ma'u. Kalabus, here you have in our Gemaras, you have these moons in the side as an illustration. The nails, a nail, there's the head of the nail, which is normally flat. You can knock it through the leather and the sole, and it went to the undersole, and the sharp side went under, on the ground. What happens if you took one nail and you made it into a semicircle? And then you knocked it in. So the same nail has two heads, and both heads are going to the underbelly. That's not the way they normally made a sandal hamasumah. Then the top of the sandal doesn't even have the tops of nails, even if they're flat. It's even safer for the top. Does it change its classification of a sandal hamasumah? Again, if it's not mamish like the sandal hamasumah, even though the danger is the same, the sharpness under the sole is the same, but that's not the way they made it. That's not like the story, and that's permitted. If you cover the entire sole with nails, but you didn't do it in order for you to be able to grab the earth better. A whole different reason. You live in a moist location, and we know that wet and wood are not the biggest chavedim. Moisture will make wood rot. So if a person didn't want to walk, he didn't want any of the wood of the sandal to touch the floor. He wanted to have something that's mafsik between the floor and the wood. So he doesn't want for the moist ground to consume the wood, to make the wood rot. Also, it's mutter. Wow. And let's go weiter. Not only may you not walk out, but you may not go from one house to the other. And not only outdoors, even not in Rishus Harabim, not even from bed to bed. Can't put it on your feet. However, now we have another whole issue. If I'm not allowed to wear these shoes ever, does it become muktzah? This is a muktzah question. And here the answer is, we learned this in Perek 4, for those of us who learn Perek Revi, that even a keli shemalachte le'iser, if you move it for a specific permitted purpose, then you are okay. You can't stop move it, but you have to have a permitted purpose. Either the first white line, you want to cover something with it, you can use it as a cover, or the but you have a bed, let's say on 4 legs, one leg is shorter than the other 3. So it's a hinkadik, and you want to straighten out the bed, so you're putting the shoe under the bed to straighten it out. I remember my father never got over, in the early 30s or in the mid-30s, President Franklin Roosevelt, the American president, came to Brazil. And he was told, he was an American president, 6.2, 6.5, and the beds in Brazil then, Dominican Brazil wasn't that big. So imagine, the president of America, he came to a hotel in Rio, and like in Sodom, his feet would have gone beyond the bed. So what did they do? That's Brazil. And the Brazilians are proud. They took books, and they piled up the books. It should go to almost the same height of the mattress at the end of the bed, and then they covered it with a sheet. And then that was the talk. Now, Brazil, that's how you greet an American president. You fix the bed with books. Here are you are allowed to do that. It's taka klei shemalach le'iser, and then you are allowed to move it for such a purpose. Rabbi Lazar ben Abshimin, oiser, he does not allow you to use it, right? L'choira. Yeah, he does not allow you to use it for anything, says Rashi, because if you're going to use it to straighten out your bed, you have it in your hand, you might end up wearing it. So to prevent you from wearing it, don't move it at all. Next case here in the Braisa, Noshru Roiv Masmeroisov, if it was made as a sandal Hamasumar, but most of the nails fell out, and the Nishtayr boy, 1 second, Noshru Roiv Masmeroisov means it's okay. If most of them fell out, you're good. But now the Braisa says weiter. If the Nishtayr boy Dalodohei only if 4 or 5 remained, then it's mutter. The Rebbe says, if 7 remained, even if 7 remained, it's mutter. Now, guys, if you remember, we just learned above that the Rebbe has had 13. That in itself is a stira that will be addressed in a moment. Next case, chipo ba'oir. If you covered it with leather, milmata, not inside. You covered the bottom of the sole. You didn't want the wood to be on the floor. You covered it with leather, and the cover boy masmurais milmailo. Right, and you made sure that the leather stays affixed by putting nails in. It's mutter. It's not mamish sandal hamasumar. Next case, also kamin kalabus. That's the kamin kalabus that you made every nail into a semicircle, and when you knocked it in, both the head and the tail, the head and the sharp part. The head is also sharp. Is protruding downwards, or it kamin tas, or if the head of the nail is not your normally flat head, it's very wide. You made it fancy. Or the head of the nail and the sharp part of the nail are equally sharp. It's sharp on both ends. So it's sharp on the bottom and it's sharp on the top. Or if you stuck it into the ground filled with nails, but not because you want to walk on the ground better. It's only in that case, the din is mutter, and that's the Tanya Kavasi de Rabsheshes. Okay. So now that we brought this Braisa, that Taka said that if you only put it in there in order for the wood not to get rotted by the moisture, it's mutter, even though it looks like a sandal hamasumar. Now the kasha is hagufa kasha. Omrat, you began by saying that if you had a bona fide sandal hamasumar, if nashru rev masmeroisav, it seems if you would stop here in the Braisa seems to be saying that once the majority of these nails fell out, it already, it's not a sandal hamasumar. There isn't even a marasayin. It's mashma afal gav the nishtayr beituva, more than 7, many more. As long as it's in the minority, it's okay. And then right away you said arba chameshin tfeiloi. So amar absheshes lekasha kan shenigmemu. Shenigmemu means that it got eaten up, it got consumed. The nails did not fall out. It's only that the nails are not going beyond the undersole. But if someone looks at the undersole, they see the nails there. Okay, and in that case, since you don't have the majority of them protruding, people know that it's not a functional sandal hamasumar, and there's no marasayin issue, and therefore you can wear it. But when do we only allow you to wear it if there's only 4 or 5 left? Is when they were completely taken out, shenekru, no one knows how it was made in the outset. In other words, we don't want it to give the appearance that it's a bona fide sandal hamasumar, and therefore only 4 or 5. Now, the 4 and 5 doesn't work. There's no such a thing. It's 4 or 5. If chamish is shari arba miboya, amarab chizda. No, if it's a small sandal, you can only wear it if there's only 4 left when it's shenekru, and chamish the sandal gadol. Now, Rebbe here was matir until 7, and we learned above on the right. The Hatanya Rebbe matir even on 13. Answers the Gemara like this: if it's linoi, can have 13. But here we're speaking about noita. Noita means it wasn't linoi. It was simply to make sure that the shoe is no longer, not unleveled. You want to level it out. You're making nails stick out. Today you would add a piece under and then they'd put nails. Now the Gemara says if noita is different than the whole beginning, we began the sugya by contradicting Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says 5. We bought a brisa 7, or Rebbe said 13. The whole kasha is no kasha anymore. Hasha the asas lahachi l'Rabbi Yochanan nami loy kasha. Even though we found that in the Horoi, we don't need that. Why is that? Because noita shani. Okay, Amar Rav Masna or V'Amrillah. The statement was made by Rav Achadvoy Bar Masna in the name of Rav Masna. Ein halacha k'Rav Lazar b'Rav Shimon. Yes, we may use a sandal hamasumar to cover a keli or to put it to level out the bed. And we're not machmer like him. You might wear it. Fregimar pshita. Yochid v'Rav Lachi k'Rabim. Answers the Gemara, Mao the Tema Mistabra, time of the Rav Lazar ben Rav Shimon Baha, he might wear it. Kumash Malan, no, we don't pass him like him. Amar Rabbi Chia. I love the Koroli Bavloi, Shari, Isura, if not for my fear of me being called in the Holy Land, or the Babylonian rabbi that's so lenient that he permits that which is prohibited, if not for that, Sharina Beituva. If you have, we're going back to the shoe that's made linoi. It's not made for to walk lachazik, and it's only linoi. And really, you should be allowed to wear it on Shabbos. Elamah, we don't want for there to be a marasayin. We don't want for people to think it's a sandal hamasumar. So that's the whole sugya. You have to only 5, only 7, only this, only that. He says, if not from me being afraid of being classified as this kula dekarav, Shonina Beituva, I would have allowed for a person to wear a sandal hamasumar, not a sandal, a sandal that has nails protruding to the undersole that was made for an ornament, even if it's many more than 7. And how many would I have permitted it? So when he was in Pompadisa or in Pompadisa, they quoted him of saying, even if there's 24, sandal hamasumar had many more than 24. If you see 24 nails, you know it's linoi. And in Surah, they quoted this Rab Chia saying 22. First of all, is to remember 24, 22, and why did that happen? So Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak, the Simanach, you want to remember, Ad the Asami Pumpadisa L'Surah, like Rashi says, the last line in the Amid, that Rab Chia went from Babel to Eretz Yisrael. He made Aliyah. And he went first to Pumpadisa as he's traveling, and then he came to Surah, and then he went to Eretz Yisrael. He was wearing a sandal hamasumar. It was good to walk. When you're going far away, you walk better. You don't slip. If you're walking on earth that's shvach, it chaps into the earth. When he began his journey, when he was in Pumpadisa, right, as he's traveling, the nails began to fall out. And he knew, it doesn't work anymore. When he was in Pumpadisa, he had 24. By the time he got to Surah, he had 2 less. L'Surah chaser tarte. And Rashi writes, the last Rashi in the Amid, what's the mnemonic? Because Surah and chaser, Rashi uses the words, it's doima eitzel doima. In other words, it's a play on words. Surah chaser, you'll remember it that way. And when he was in Surah, he only had 22. So wherever he was, he spoke about, you see what I'm wearing right now? This is not a sandal hamashumar. It doesn't function properly. It's a clear, by him it was a broken, he said, if it's lanoi, everyone will know if it's only 22, or in Pompadisa, when there was only 24, theoretically he held, no one will confuse it with a sandal hamasumar, but he didn't say that because he did not want to be called the Babylonian Rav, that is Matir Isurim. God willing, to be continued.
Rabbi, I don't know if it was mentioned earlier.
45 minutes.